Okay, so I got to tell you about a conversation I had recently because it really made me sit back and think about everything we've been told about money and investing. I was at this friend S place earlier this week and she had a bunch of people over just hanging out. There were like 7 or 8 of us ranging from 22 to like 27 years old. And one morning I woke up early, grabbed some coffee, and this one guy, maybe 22 or 23, comes out and sits down next to me. And he is like, "Hey, Reed, I got a question for you." I was like, "Sure, man, what is up?" And he says, "Right now, I got about $1,000 extra sitting around and I am trying to figure out where I should invest it. I already got my 401k going and I got a little bit in some other stuff, but I want to know what you think." And honestly, it was such a genuine question. He was being smart, he was thinking ahead, he was doing what every personal finance guru out there tells you to do. But something about it just hit me differently here is this kid, 22 years old, with no dependents, no mortgage, no major responsibilities, and his first instinct is to take his extra cash and throw it into an index fund. And I sat there for a second and I thought about where I was at 22 and what I wish someone had told me back then because I made a lot of mistakes. I mean, a lot. I was the guy maxing out credit cards, buying stuff I didn't need, eating out every single night, living paycheck to paycheck and not even thinking about the future. I had no emergency fund, no savings, no plan. I was completely lost. So when this guy asked me that question, I didn't want to give him the cookie cutter answer. I wanted to be real with him. So here's what I told him. And I want to share this with you too, because I think it matters if you invest in the SP 500 or real estate or any of those traditional asset classes. And you start early and you stay consistent, you will probably make money over a long period of time. That is not a hot take. That is just math. Historically, the market goes up over decades, and if you park your money there and leave it alone, you LL come out ahead. But here's the thing I've been thinking about a lot lately. The moment you start focusing all your attention on investing in assets like stocks and index funds, especially when you are young and you are not day trading, because that is just gambling, honestly. The moment you do that might actually be the moment you stop trying to increase your income. And I know that sounds backwards, so let me explain. When you are 18 or 20 or 25, your biggest financial advantage isn't your savings rate. It is not your ability to cut out avocado toast. It is your earning capacity. It is what you can go out into the marketplace and get paid for. And if you pour all your extra money into the stock market when you are young, you are missing the opportunity to invest that money into the thing that has the highest return possible, your skills, your knowledge, your ability to solve problems. Think about it like this. Let's say you graduate high school tomorrow. You got no skills besides that diploma. You didn't work any jobs in high school. You never learned a trade. You never picked up a side hustle. You are eligible for minimum wage jobs, maybe 10, 12, 15 bucks an hour depending on where you live. That is your starting point. Now imagine you spend 2 days and 500 bucks to get certified as a phlebotomist. Suddenly you can go from making 10 bucks an hour to 25 bucks an hour. That is 2.5 times your earning capacity in 2 days. For 500 bucks, if you could triple your income for the rest of your life with a 2-day investment of $500, would you do it? Obviously you would. That is a no-brainer. But we don't think about education and skill building the same way we think about stock market investing. We see a certification or a course or a coaching program as an expense instead of an investment, and that mindset shift is everything. So here's my philosophy. And I want to be really clear about this because I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I am not saying you should never save or invest in the market. You absolutely should. Having an emergency fund is non-negotiable. Building good money habits early is crucial. But when you are in your 20s, even your 30s, I believe you should take every single dollar of excess cash beyond your basic living expenses and invest it in education that increases your earning capacity. Live as cheap as you possibly can, find roommates, eat ramen, drive a beater car, do whatever you got to do to keep your expenses low. And then take that surplus and pour it into learning courses, certifications, books, coaching programs, mentorships, workshops, whatever it takes to make yourself more valuable in the marketplace. Let me give you a concrete example. Say you are 22 years old, you work a job that pays you 50 grand a year. You are living cheap with roommates and your total expenses are about 20 grand a year. After taxes, you've got maybe 25 grand left over. That is about 2,000 bucks a month. Most people would look at that 2,000 and think, okay, I got to put this in my Roth IRA and my 401k and maybe a little in a brokerage account. And that is fine. That is safe. That is what everyone tells you to do. But let me ask you something. What if instead of dumping that 2,000 into the market every month, you invested it into yourself? You spent it on courses and coaching and mentorships. You went and learned high-value skills that the marketplace actually pays for. Copywriting, video editing, digital advertising, sales, project management. Whatever industry you are in or want to get into, there are skills that separate the people making 40 grand from the people making 80 or 120 or 200 grand. And you can learn those skills way faster than 4 years of college. Now let's say you do that for 4 years, 48 months of investing 2 grand a month into yourself. I am not saying you got to do a 4-year degree because honestly, I don't think that is the best play for most people anymore, given how expensive it is and how the job market has shifted. But if you take that 2,000 a month and you are strategic about it, I can almost guarantee you that by the end of 4 years, you LL be making more money than most people with traditional 4-year degrees. And you probably start seeing returns by the end of the first year because the skills you learn compound just like money does. Actually, they compound way faster. Think about it. You learn video production. Cool, that is one skill. Then you learn editing. Now your videos look better. Then you learn social media strategy. Now you know how to get views. Then you learn copywriting. Now you know how to sell. Then you learn branding. Now you know how to build a following, then you learn management and operations. Now you can run a team, each skill stacks on top of the last one, and your value in the marketplace goes up, exponentially, not linearly. 1 plus 1 is not 2 in this situation. It is more like 3 or 4 or 10. You can literally 10 times your income over a few years if you are intentional about it. And no index fund in the world can give you that kind of return. I look at the richest people in the world and I think about how they got there. Jeff Bezos made something like $40 million an hour last year. That is not from stashing his paycheck in a Vanguard fund. That is from building something, from solving massive problems, from adding value at a scale most of us can even imagine. And I am not saying you need to be Jeff Bezos, but the principle applies at every level. Your ability to earn money is directly tied to the value you provide to other people. The bigger the problem you solve, the more you can charge, and the gap between the problem someone has and the solution you provide, that is where your income lives. So here's what I told that 22-year-old kid. Instead of stressing about where to invest your $1,000, take that money and put it into learning a skill that is going to increase your paycheck by 30 or 40 grand a year. Go get a certification, find a mentor, buy a course from someone who is actually doing what you want to do. And here's the thing about buying courses and coaching. A lot of people have this weird mental block about it. They think if they spend $500 or $1,000 or even $5,000 on a program, that program better make them rich overnight. That is not how it works. You don't take one Spanish class in college and expect to be fluent. You take a whole curriculum over years. Same thing applies here. Think of each course or coaching program as one class in your entrepreneurial degree. You are not looking for one person to save you or teach you everything. It is not about finding a savior. It is about gathering knowledge from a bunch of different people and piecing it together into your own skill set. No one person has all the answers. But if you follow enough smart people who are giving away good free content first, you figure out who is legit. Follow them on YouTube or Instagram or wherever. See if their free stuff is valuable and tactical and actually teaches you things. If it is, then the paid stuff is probably even better. That is the easiest way to lower your risk when you are deciding to buy something. And honestly, you know what is even cooler than buying one person course? Buy like 3 or 4, buy from different people in the same space, learn what they all know, and then guess what happens? You become just as good or better than any one of them because you synthesize knowledge from multiple sources. Now you are making 80 grand a year instead of 50. Now you've got 4,000 a month to invest in coaching and learning instead of 2,000. The snowball gets bigger and bigger, but here is where most people mess up. They start something and they don't finish it. They buy a course, watch 2 videos, and then move on to the next shiny thing. They start building a bridge and then quit halfway through to start building a different bridge. So they end up with a bunch of half-built bridges and never make it all the way across to where the money is. I've been guilty of this too. You get 3 bricks laid on one bridge, and then you see something else that looks exciting, and you go start laying bricks on that one. Pretty soon, you got 10 bridges each with 2 or 3 bricks, and none of them are functional. The key is to follow through, to finish what you start, to replicate before you innovate. If you find someone who is getting results doing something a certain way, just copy what they're redoing first. Don't try to put your own spin on it until you've proven you can replicate their results. You have to earn the right to make iterations. It is humbling, and it is hard, but it works. Look at it like a bridge with 30 bricks. You gotta lay all 30 before anyone can walk across and pay you. When you are 28 bricks in, you probably haven't made your first dollar yet, and that feels discouraging. You feel like you are not making progress, but you are actually 90% of the way there. The people who succeed are the ones who can see which brick is missing and focus their attention on that one thing instead of getting distracted and starting over somewhere else. That is the discipline nobody talks about. So here's my challenge to you if you are listening and you are in your 20s or even your 30s. Make a decision right now that you are not going to waste your money on stupid stuff. The new iPhone, the fancy car, the overpriced apartment, none of that matters right now. Make a decision that instead of putting every extra dollar into the stock market, you are going to invest a significant chunk of it into yourself, into your skills, into your education, into your earning capacity, because that thing, your ability to earn that, is going to compound way faster than 10% a year. You can double or triple or 10 times your income if you invest in the right skills. And once you've built up that income, then you can start throwing money into index funds and real estate and all that stuff. But don't skip the first step. Don't put the cart before the horse. You are your most valuable asset. Treat yourself like one. I am not some guru. I am not a millionaire. I am a 27-year-old guy who made a ton of mistakes with money and figured some stuff out along the way. Everything I am sharing with you, I learned the hard way. I was in debt. I was clueless. I was living paycheck to paycheck with no plan and no hope, and the thing that turned it around for me was finding some hot stock tip or getting lucky with crypto. It was deciding to invest in myself, learning new skills, getting better at what I do, becoming more valuable, and I promise you, if you do the same thing, you see results faster than you think. Peace. Q.